pick some of your messages. Let me go to Kumasi, specifically to Asawasi, where Said Ali Yakub, Love FM News Editor, is on the line at Asokwa. Said, good morning. Welcome to Newsfile. What is happening? We understand that Maxwell Kofi Juma, the former MP who is also contesting right now, has been arrested by police.
Well, good morning, Samson. Well, it's true, Kofi Juma has been arrested. Just a few moments ago, Kofi Juma entered the voting hall and vandalized election materials. Police were right there to pick him. He was handcuffed and been taken away. I'm unable to say whether they are taking him to Asqa or the Central Police Station. Earlier, voting delayed in Asqa constituency because they were sorting out accreditation issues.
Okay.
In fact, voting started a little after 10 o'clock. And earlier, I saw Kofi Juma enter the hall, greeted people, and left on the quiet. A few moments later, Patricia Piede entered to a rousing welcome amid singing of songs of Abemowie, which indicated to me that most of the delegates had already taken up their decision that they were going to vote for Patricia Piede. Moments later, Kofi Juma entered the hall again and tampered with election materials. In fact, he tore some papers down and threw them on the floor. So I've spoken with EC officials who have actually confirmed this.
How was he able to do that in the presence of the police? Because as we understand, it is police that is guarding this process.
Yes, that's true, Samson. And I'll tell you, there are a lot of policemen and women here. I can count about 10 of them in the Asqa constituency alone. I don't know if that is the situation in other constituencies. But it looks as he came on the blind side of everybody because the process has started and nobody expected that it would be disrupted in that manner.
And you are saying that you are saying the facts are that he did this without any provocation?
Mayor, so I'm sure nobody had that thinking that anything of that sort can happen, and if it will happen,
sorry, just 1 minute. 1 minute. He did what you allege he did, for which the police arrested him without any provocation.
No, there was no provocation. Some of us didn't even see the incident happen because we were concentrating on taking down notes and trying to see who is voting and who has already voted. So that was exactly what is happening. Suddenly, we saw people running helter-skelter, cars flying over our heads, and then when we made inquiries, EC officials confirmed that Kofi Juma had actually vandalized the election material.
Have people been hurt in that process? You spoke about chairs flying. Have people been hurt in the process?
Not exactly. I don't know about any major injury to anybody. But now, party officials are trying to reorganize and get the people back into the hall to see if they can start the process. I am outside now, so I'm unable to say whether the process can continue or not.
Okay.
But the people are still around the outer yard trying to see what they can do for the next moment.
Thank you, Said Ali Yakub, bringing us that update from the Asokwa constituency, where Maxwell Kofi Juma, the former MP who was unseated by Patricia Piede, the former mayor of Kumasi, and now the MP for that area, telling us about what is going on there and that the fact that police have picked him up. Well, very unfortunate situation there, but let's see how it pans out. We'll continue to do our business here. We'll move on to the issue of the Justice Dzamefe Commission, whose report has just been released. No, report not been released. We haven't seen the report yet. We have seen a white paper accepting portions, rejecting portions, and accepting and modifying or varying or portions of the report. I'd like to start with Yao.
Yes.
You've seen the white paper.
Yes.
Is it 23 pages I read? What catches your attention?
Well, first of all, I believe that there is non-compliance with the appropriate constitutional provision.
What are you talking about?
The white paper. Because this whole exercise of the function by the President, commissions of inquiry, is under Chapter 23. And when you read Article 280, Clause 3, the President shall, subject to Clause 4 of this article, cause to be published the report of a commission of inquiry together with the white paper on it within 6 months after the date of the submission of the report by the commission. So, in my own limited understanding of the law, you cannot publish a white paper without a publication of the report itself.
You're reading Clause 3.
3.
But you're not reading Clause 4.
Oh, yes, I'm going to Clause 4.
Okay, read Clause 4. Let's see if
where the report of a commission of inquiry is not to be published, the President shall issue a statement to that effect, giving reasons why the report is not to be published. All right? Now, if the report is to be published, it must be published with the white paper. If the report will not be published, you will not issue a white paper.
You issue a statement.
You issue a statement.
Justifying why it is not to be published.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm saying that I see non-compliance with this, what I deem to be a clear provision of the Constitution.
Does it make any difference if you are told that the report will be ready at the government press from Monday?
It makes a lot of difference. The operative word there is together. Together. And it's not for nothing that the framers of the Constitution should, because they could sense a possibility where the white paper may be issued without a publication of the report itself. And also, then anybody can do whatever the person pleases in the white paper itself, including even misquoting, sometimes inadvertence. And so, if what I'm seeing is right, then I'm saying that this is unconstitutional. By issuing a white paper without a publication of the report itself, I see an unconstitutional act here.
That's my first comment. That the white paper and the report have been gazetted. It changes the situation, doesn't it?
The white paper and the report have been gazetted. But where is it?
Assembly Press. Go to Assembly Press.
It's at Assembly Press.
Yes, that's where you go and buy it. Every government publication, usually it's at Assembly Press that you go and then you obtain your copy.
But
it is not there as we speak.
It is there.
Oh, come on.
No, have you gone there this
I've
morning?
made inquiries.
Oh,
They'll tell you that they say from
morning?
Monday. Look, let's stop this. Let's not play this game.
Mr. Aga, wait.
Let's not just waste our time. We are being told that, yes, the thing is bulky. The only 3 copies were made available by the commission. They didn't make available an electronic version. They are now asking the commission to bring forward an electronic version. So there's certainly a problem with how this presentation was done.
Okay, let's just hear the Attorney General briefly, and then we'll come to deal with the issue. The Attorney General, Marietta Buriapiopong, is the one that told the media about the issuance of the white paper, what has been accepted, what's been rejected, what's been accepted partially.
Government has accepted the recommendations of the Commission to assign implementation responsibilities in relation to payment of penalties, return of state property, and surcharging of certain named personalities for losses caused to the Ministry of Justice and Attorney General's Department, that's to my ministry. Government also accepts the recommendation for the establishment of 3 implementation teams, namely technical and management, funding or financial administration and management, and marketing and sponsorship to ensure the implementation of the legacy recommendations contained in the report. However, the composition of these implementation teams will be determined by government. Government, however, does not accept the recommendation that a special investigative team be set up to look into matters that require further investigation. Government is of the view that there do exist institutions which have the requisite capacity to deal with these matters. Government has therefore decided that the Bureau of National Investigation will be the body to conduct any further investigations that were to be assigned to the special investigative team stated in the report. Government will take steps to initiate the Commission Stakeholders Review Colloquium as recommended by the Commission. And government has also decided that the colloquium will be held 2 years after the publication of this white paper instead of the 1 year as recommended in the report.
To advise government on the financing.
All right, so we just heard Mrs. Marita Brew appear upon the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, just giving us a few of the highlights of the white paper. Now, I was asking the question, what catches your attention? You have spoken about what you see to be in non-compliance with the constitutional provision as far as the release of the white paper is concerned. Yeah. Can we move to the meat of the white paper itself?
Well, specifically, one, I see an incomplete assignment or an unfinished assignment. The basic duty of a commission of inquiry is to find or establish facts, as I understand it. So if I get, of course, I'll be measured because I haven't seen the report. And I'm taking what appears to have been quoted verbatim from the report in the white paper as what is exactly contained in that commission's report. Right. And that's what the comments I'm going to make. So if I get a commission, for example, making this recommendation, travel matters should not be paid the cost of the internal flight arrangement in Brazil if it has not been paid. Was it not the duty of the commission to establish as a fact that travel matters has been paid or not been paid any monies? 2, travel matters should be made to refund the cost of internal flight arrangement in Brazil if it has been paid. I thought that was the duty. Then you move on. There was one also relating to the president of the GFA, where they said that if some monies had been paid, I think $200,000 or so have been paid to him, and for the purposes of organizing the pre-World Cup friendlies, and there had also been payment from agents, then that money has to be refunded. But I thought it was the duty of the commission to establish as a fact whether or not that money was used for that purpose, and in addition, other persons, agents also, have also funded it. Then elsewhere you will see recommendation for further investigation.
That's what the Attorney General was saying, that they had recommended that another entity be set up, committee be set up to do the investigation, but government takes the view that we already have institutions that can do that, so we give it to the BNI.
But I will come to that.
Right.
I have made the point that sometimes some of these commissions are clearly unnecessary, with all due respect. We already have in place established special purpose state institutions, and persons are being paid with my tax for it. It appears to me that the growing evidence rather is that these commissions are being set up, and this is purely from me, either to shield those of our own and embarrass those who are not with us. That is what I'm seeing. Because for example, talking about monies that were paid by GNPC to GFA. First, there has been a court decision that, strictly speaking, GNPC, though quasi state institution per se, it is a limited liability company with a board and management that takes decision. Elsewhere, the government highlights that point. So if GNPC has paid some monies to FIFA, to GFA, GNPC has paid to GFA for a particular purpose, based, I believe, on the approval of the board, and the money has not been used for the purpose, what is the business of government? Again, I have here this Republic versus Ghana Football Association Appeals Committee, that is the popular King Faisal case. And in it, there is this case of Roxen versus GFA, in which the Supreme Court has held that the GFA is a private voluntary organization. And the fact that it is supported by the state does not make it a public body. So if two private institutions have entered into an agreement for funding, so to speak, and the money has not been used strictly for that purpose, I don't see how it should be the business of government now to set up a forensic audit. And even coming to that, this commission by its nature has the power to invite any witness, and under that provision in a restricted manner, it has the powers of the High Court in taking evidence.
Right.
Couldn't they have invited any expert, forensic or not, to establish whether or not these monies, you can find a lot of them under 2.12 of the white paper, but specifically paragraph 3.8, page 74 of the report itself, at least as quoted here. Dzamefe must be investigated by way of forensic audit to ascertain. What else was the purpose of this commission? If it was not to investigate, invite experts, for example, to establish, to ascertain the claims of losses totaling $1.1002 million in respect or involving Ghana, Cape Verde, Ghana, Nigeria, and Ghana, Togo friendly. So what then did they do? With all due respect, we should also investigate the claim that the amount of $350,000 received from Japan match was used to offset the deficit incurred in Ghana. How was it difficult for them to also establish the commission? And we should then set up, as they appointed, a special investigating body. First, we have it. Secondly, we thought that you could do it. And now you could not also do it. Because I think the duty of a court or a commission is not to identify issues only.
That's what you think they have done.
You should resolve the issues.
Right. Okay. Now, Kweku, is this not a genuine concern that the commission has done an inconclusive work?
Well,
wasted our money.
Well. That's a bit of a high. Look, where is the report? We are now told it's on its way to the publishing corporation. Yeah, we're there. I've done official checks. What I'm saying is based on checks at the highest level.
The information minister informs me, communications minister informs me the 2 documents have been gazetted. And if they have, that's where you find them. That's
as far back as Thursday.
Look, anybody who goes there now will not get a copy.
Today is not yet Saturday, so how can you get a copy?
As of yesterday,
that's what it means. You won't get it.
Okay.
We are being told from Monday, and I'm saying on authority.
For a special reason, I'm reserving you for the
on authority. That's what I'm saying. We have been told that from Monday we can assess it at that point, that place. That's what we've been told.
That's so.
The Minister of Communications told me so. I had a chat with the president this morning over the same matter. He also told me so. That's why I said from the highest level of authority, I was doing my checks.
You
meant Monday.
You meant the GFA president?
No.
Okay.
Our president.
Okay.
The country's president. Yes, he told me so. That it will be available from Monday.
So will it be gazetted on Monday or is gazetted?
I am telling you that is the bloody truth as we speak.
Indeed, bloody.
You cannot vary the point I'm making.
Oh no! Wait,
I've told you my source.
Let me. Before he goes into his substantive issues, one, the whole process of gazetting a public document is a technical exercise. Is that okay?
I wasn't disputing gazetting.
Precisely,
I haven't spoken on that.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So far as we are concerned, when we submit the document to Assembly Press for the process to begin, we've done our part.
Why don't you wait and confirm it's completed before you do what you have to do?
No. Our job is to come out with, a white paper, and at the point when we do the gazetting, then officially the document is public. That you cannot immediately access copies.
Well,
you cannot immediately access copies at Assembly Press, either because they haven't been able to publish enough for everybody to get a copy. It's another matter altogether. So I'm saying that so far as the technical processes are concerned,
but I'm suggesting
we have done
to you,
our part.
I'm suggesting to you most respectfully that I think that the right thing to do is to make sure that when you have submitted for gazetting, make sure the process is complete, confirm same, and perhaps at the point where the Attorney General is reading the white paper, you have a copy in front of her and she can showcase to the world.
Fantastic.
This is finished.
Let me tell you something.
You would have done a full compliance with the Article 280.
There was a full compliance. The thing about managing information is also very critical.
Okay, I'll get to you. You have your turn. So could go on.
Yes. In the absence of the full report published and accessible.
It is published, it's not yet accessible.
Yeah, so I said two things. So I will concede.
You're right.
Not accessible as we speak.
Right.
It's not here.
That's
but
correct.
Published.
So I'm unable to give a good answer to the question you posed as to whether the commission did a good job or full job or there's some spaces. I'm unable.
But we are aware of very key issues of the investigation, which the commission has referred to further investigations.
Yeah, but
some of it is being inconclusive.
Yeah, that would not be new. That's not new. We've had many commissions of inquiry that have come out with reports and made recommendations for further investigations, sometimes due to some criminal aspects and the rest that the commission may not have been seized with the mandate to do. So that's not an unusual development at all, even though we can take the specifics and interrogate them. For instance, the point about the friendly matches and those things and the need for contracts to be submitted and the money to look at the revenues and expenditure and all the rest. I'm aware that the GFE presented, I think on 9th December 2014, its audited report from 2006, I believe, to 2013 to the commission as part of its work. So my view is that those things are captured. This audited accounts by the GFA, I'm told, is done by the audit service. Yes, that is enough material to subject to any further inquiry. Otherwise, you may be doing double investigations of the same thing and maybe waste of national public resources.
What Yahweh is asking is, the commission had the power to, for example, invite an expert if they felt that a particular area needed an expert input. They had the right to also bring in maybe the BNI if they needed their services.
Compel their attendance.
To bring the BNI to assist them to conclusively deal with a particular matter.
I'm saying that it is not always an ideal thing to do. You can go around the broad faces and take some out for further inquiry. It's not new.
Is that the best?
I'm not going to really waste too much time.
Yes, Kweku, it's not new, but is that the best?
Well, I'm not sure I can give an answer to that.
Okay.
The point is that it is not a fatal injury to the work of the commission or to any investigative process. It's not. There may be areas. Otherwise, the commission would have asked for more time. More time. Those people you bring in, the experts, they cannot just come at the commission and give you answers. They will take the matter of the commission, go and do their own independent inquiries before they bring a report.
By the constitutional instruments 65, CI 65, 2010, which regulates their work, when they had finished their work, they have 60 solid days to submit.
I'm telling
That's
you,
enough.
I don't think we should belabor this point.
Okay, move on.
Because
Just move
as
on.
I said, it's not a fatal injury.
I hear you.
The point really is, I'm saying that area about friendly matches and those, the information is available. That part, I believe the commission could have dealt with it because the audited accounts contains all those things. But if the commission feels that an expert interrogation of the issue should take place, fair deal, they can't.
What aspect, as highlighted by the white paper, caught your attention?
Few. Let me be honest with you. I haven't finished reading the white paper.
Okay.
I have to be honest with you because you have to take your time and read it carefully. But there are a few things I've noticed. You see, they talk of the need for a public interest committee, and they've given the composition 3 from government, 2 from the GFA. I'm not sure if that's a substitute for the public interest committee that is envisaged under the GFA statutes. I'm not sure that one being proposed here, which government appears to have accepted, can be a substitute in terms of the statutory nature of that committee under GFA. We've got to be very careful in that area. I also realized that there isn't much, even though I haven't finished reading, so if it's there, you correct me before I commit errors. There isn't much said about what led to the delay in the delivering of the appearance fee, which led to all the mess in Brazil. There isn't much said. I haven't heard all the things being said, all the negotiations that went on, which even attracted the intervention of the vice president.
We should find that detail in the report itself.
Voila. That's part of the reason why the absence of the report is creating problems for all of us in doing this discussion we are doing at this material moment. But there isn't much there. But I thought if it was there, then that's an area that the white paper should not have missed. Because it's one of the things that triggered all the mess that happened in the Brazil, even the player rebellion and the lack of motivation and all the rest. So it ought to be highlighted. If indeed it's in the report, then it ought to have found space in the white paper. So that's another area. And there's talk about management committees for the national teams. And then there's a hint of a performance contract that must be brought forward by the Ministry of Youth and Sports. The impression I get then is that virtually the ministry is taking over the management of the national teams from the GFA. I get it's an impression. I may be wrong, but that part we should also be a bit careful. Then the coefficient thing. Very interesting observation.
The BNI is supposed to take care of that.
Yes, see, and I hope. The commission, I don't know, did the GFA present a list of recipients, beneficiaries to the commission or not? At the time the cabinet was approving the monies for the management committee, they knew the management committee was 5, didn't they? There were 7, but 2 had, I'm told, died or so, or 2 were not. Yeah, I think 1 had died. That for sure, I'm sure. But there were only 5 at the tournament. The cabinet knew it was approving that amount of money for the management committee and others. They knew. It's a long-standing practice. Ayaga, fortunately, has been at the Ministry of Youth and Sports before. Okay, yeah. And I have said it here, that there were officials of the Ministry of Youth and Sports who received some of those monies. It's a fact. Yes, it is.
Which monies?
The monies that were sent, the $500 and something thousand, the one for the management committee. It isn't true that only the 5 members of the management committee shared those amounts.
Okay.
It isn't true. So yes, I am not against BNI interrogating the specifics. But the truth is that cabinet knew when it was making the approval that these monies were not strictly for only the 5 members who were then members of the committee.
Okay, let's hear from Nana Kumia. Nana, among the recommendations of retrieval of some property of sort and some money that ought to come, the government in the white paper has even sought to give timelines for some people that you have been giving, is it a year or a month from this point of the publication of the report to bring what you are being ordered to return. I find an interesting thing here under 2.24, Ghana's relations with FIFA and CAF. It says, government accepts the following recommendations of the Commission. A, the state should not be cowed or distracted by threats of ban from international sporting organizations from exercising its internationally recognized responsibility of ensuring public order, public decency, and high moral conduct in the use of public funds by officials of domestic sporting associations that are affiliated to these international sporting organizations. Beyond the few things I have mentioned, what draws your attention as you read the white paper?
Well, on the specific matter of FIFA, it's been a controversial issue.
That's right.
Obviously, the government is cashing in on the recent investigations being done on FIFA. Now, if FIFA, the mother body itself, is undergoing thorough investigations, it will be difficult to protect the smaller national organizations with that kind of fiat that they should not be subject to investigation. So it may be a good period for governments across the world to push in that angle and make football administration much more transparent across countries. But my substantial take on this white paper, like has been said, I want to see the full report. Then I will look at the white paper. On the basis of the report, I can do a proper evaluation.
Okay.
This business of it's been gazetted and all. I mean, this provision about taking things to assembly place and all of that. This from the Kwame Nkrumah period. Today we have software. I find it extremely strange that we are being told that there's no soft copy of the report.
No, the commission still has the soft copy. I'm told they've been asked to
bring it.
Bring it.
Yes, but the commission finished its work at least 5 months ago. And we are being told because there's no soft copy available, it now has to go to assembly president. It is not good enough. It is not good enough. You see, this government has had major problems with transparency.
But that's a very strange way to protect that data. There's only one, and it goes to the assembly president, they are being asked to return it. So what if in that process that one gets damaged? Then the whole thing goes down or what?
In these days of fire, rampant fire. But you see, this government has a perception problem with transparency and accountability. And so you would expect that they would do everything above board because you are suffering greatly from that perception. Look, the Dzamefe report, when it was being given to the government, they complained that they finished the report 3 months. They couldn't get an appointment to present it to the president. That's bad enough. And then they made some comments that they didn't want the Dzamefe report to suffer the fate of other reports. And they mentioned Maputo and so on. And so they announced the extraordinary step of actually setting up an office to monitor the implementation of their reports. That shows you that even the Dzamefe Commission itself had perceptions about transparency and accountability, whether real or perceived. And so when it comes out now that there's a white paper has been published and the report has not been published and it looks like an afterthought. It's not good enough for the government's own image of being interested in transparency and accountability. We're talking about GNPC monies in this report and all of that. Look, GNPC, they take 36% of our oil revenues. Many Ghanaians do not know that. 36% of the oil revenues of this country are lodged with GNPC. So far, government has gotten about $726 million. GNPC has got $661 million of our oil revenues. And yet when you want accountability from GNPC, then all kinds of blocks are being put up. They are contracting loans secured on public assets and they wouldn't come to parliament. You are asking them to publish their annual reports. They will not publish them until people threaten.
The court has said that they are not supposed to come to parliament.
Yes,
so.
but you know, if you want to further the aims of transparency and accountability, a public institution that is getting 36% of our oil revenue should be completely accountable, even if it's voluntary. Now I'm saying that even annual reports, they are not publishing until threats are made to take them to court. I mean, how can we tolerate that in this country? That you are getting over 600 million of our oil revenues, and you wouldn't even tell us how you're spending the money until somebody threatens to go to court. And GNPC is mentioned it became a subject matter of Dzamefe and all of that. So the government is suffering severely from the perceptions about transparency and accountability. The Dzamefe Commission has made remarks that indicates that they themselves were not sure of how transparent the government was going to be in implementing their report, and so they were going to set up their own monitoring deck.
Okay.
So government should not do anything that will further that perception.
Okay, I would do some of your text messages, take a break, and when I return, I'll ask Mahama Yarga about some of these questions regarding the questions of suggestions of incomplete exercise by the Commission. You know, Mahama Yarga was the minister when all of these began, from a committee to a commission and all of that, changing of its terms of reference from one point to the other, and the extension of its deadline about 2 times or so in the process. Now, I'm getting some information also that the requirement that we're having of the commission to do some sort of investigative thing is wrong. Amaliba says that, Abraham Amalba says that the commission is not an investigative body, but a body of inquiry, and it's not seized with the capacity to investigate. It is a fact-finding commission. That is the input that Abraham Amalba wants to make. This one has no name. It says, please, can the minister give out a number where we can call to report the issues about the filling stations? Okay, I'll give you that number right away. But before that, the flood disaster relief account number is an NIB bank number, and it is number 11020546281101. The number again is 11020546281101. That's the flood disaster relief account number with NIB. Let's continue to support our compatriots who have found themselves in this very precarious situation. Spike in Ohio in the USA says that institutional breakdown and disrespect for the law is what accounted for the disaster. When naked fire are exposed at filling stations through the sale of kebabs, etc., this is what you get. Until we make institutions start working effectively, we will forever be experiencing these disasters. Musa Abatawa says, in Kumasi says, I wish MPP well. As they are on the crossroads today, I will pray for peace and free and fair elections to prevail. Interesting. MPP is confused more than even, okay, sorry, I will not help you to propagate what you're just about to say. Decent language, don't insult anybody, don't spite anyone, we will share with the rest of the world. The only way to get the system to sit up is initiate private action against AMA and GOIL. As a personal injury lawyer, I would be interested. Okay, what you're doing is starting. Yes, you are prohibited from doing so. There's a lawyer who is, calling on people. Yeah, they can come to him and then he will assist. Okay, you didn't mention your name, so that's another one. Our laws are against that, advertising your services. But if that is the case, that really some people can. We know that the law requires that all the filling stations and the rest are supposed to have insurance. Are supposed to have insurance that adequately covers for the outlets, for the personnel, for their clients, for their visitors, for public liability, environmental, equipment and product as well. Equipment and product as well. So they are supposed to take comprehensive insurance for all of these things. So let's see how it goes. Pius in the UK says, a visit to the NADMO website showed how unprepared the organization is for such disasters. There is no acknowledgement of the tragedy on the website, no information for survivors, no information for families, tracking, missing relatives, absolutely nothing. Political consideration has overtaken competence.
I like this test.
Oh, I see. I am scandalized by this particular information that an entity like Joy FM has established, the opportunity for people to track their missing relatives, and the NADMO has no such information. It has not even said anything about a disaster on its webpage. That's serious. Okay, yeah, that's what this Pius is saying. Now, Dr. Yao Ohiming in Manchester in the UK says, even more shocking is the lack of technical publications to address the hazards that Ghanaians face and what people should do in the event of such a disaster. Wangaba says, I am interested in the lessons we take from the tragedy. Mr. Ayarage's visit to fuel stations is not one of them. There should be proper regulatory institutions adequately staffed by the suitably qualified or experienced personnel who will come out with proper codes of practices. As for the codes of practices, they exist. Go check the building regulations. You'll be shocked. I remember when the Melcom disaster happened, we visited the building regulations. If it is followed, we'll not have the problems we are having. This one from New York, you don't identify yourself. Okay, your name cannot be government. You say, even in the developed world, sometimes authorities tend to overlook their duties because of friends and acquaintances. But when they are caught, the state is the one that suffers. All those who by negligence or oversight are causing these kinds of atrocity should be punished. Pure and simple. I agree with that. You don't identify yourself. You say, I want to understand what the job description for NADMO workers is. Are they just to manage post-disaster or also to manage disaster prevention? If it's just for post-disaster, then why pay them with taxpayers' money during periods of no disaster? EPA bosses should be brought to book for negligence. Parkwesi is sending this from Bibiani, and he says, my question is that all these permits you mentioned, numbering up to about 4, EPA and so on and so forth, and fire and MPA, which one must be acquired first or in which sequential order? It is the EPA one that must be acquired first. We'll take a quick break. We'll return to ask further questions about the white paper and the Commission's report. We are back. This is Newsfile, your most authoritative news analysis show. Is brought to you by the kind sponsorship of Bank of Africa, strong as a group and close as a partner, MTN. Welcome to the new world. MTN is everywhere you go. Sasso Spray, fresh and powerful. Star Assurance, creating smiles since 1985, celebrating 30 years of solid partnership. Lipton Tea, the #1 tea brand, and Yumvita, the delicious way to grow. Now, information coming to us from Subing, coming to your election headquarters here at Joy from Subing, is that 2 persons have been arrested for campaigning. 2 persons have been arrested for campaigning. And on my page on Facebook and on social media, it's literally all over. Kofi Juma in handcuffs. I told you about that earlier. In handcuffs, he's wearing white, wearing white and smiling whilst he's being handcuffed. Such an embarrassing situation for him. Okay, now you were at the helm of this. You began requesting for a committee, and then later it was upgraded into a commission, and here we are with a report that we are yet to read. Hopefully from Monday we should have access to them, and the comments that have come as far as the work is concerned, where there are suggestions by Yao of incompleteness or inconclusiveness of the work, giving the work to some other, asking for further work to be done, and all of that. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, before I get to that, Nana Kumia made some statements about the accountability of the GNPC. in particular, and then broadly about government. Now, I will speak to the two issues quickly and then go into the issue about the commission. First and foremost, this government has been very accountable in the things that it does and does meet the legal requirements for accountability. You talk about perception. Clearly, there are those whose work it is from morning till evening to try as hard as they can to create a perception that this is a government that is not accountable to the people. Clearly, that is a political agenda, and you can't stop people from pursuing such political agendas because it serves their interest to do that. And so it is okay for people in that category to now make an assertive statement that this government has a perception of not being accountable. Clearly, if that flows from work that they have done over the years to try and create an impression that this is not a government that accounts to the people, that's another matter, because the truth is that go to Parliament, where on an annual basis, the president is to account and see whether he does account. Go to Parliament and find out whether the decision to spend a single peso on anything is being sent there for approval or not. And then also go to the Auditor General to find out whether on an annual basis they are auditing the public books to make sure that every peso that was approved by Parliament was accounted for by the agency that did the spending. And you will find out also that the Auditor General does ensure there's accounting. So as a matter of principle.
Yeah, we
now,
are
on the specific
judges.
issue
Yes.
of GNPC, GNPC is a state-owned company. And as a state-owned company, there are procedures for accounting. They present their account to the Accountant General, and the Accountant General reviews it, works on it, approves it, and then it is given to the ministry that is holding the shares in trust for the rest of us, and that is the Finance Ministry and the Petroleum Ministry, and they have been accounting. Indeed, as we speak, the 2013 accounts of GNPC has been published, and it is on the website of the Ministry of Petroleum. You can go to the website of the Ministry of Petroleum and you can see the accounts.
All right.
The 2014 accounts is being worked on by the Accountant General. Once they are done, that will also be published.
Okay, let's move on to the Dzamefe.
And so it is important because of the corporate image of GNPC that some statements we should be cautious.
Okay.
I mean, let's limit the politics.
All right.
Now, so, on the issue of the commission, I think that some questions have been raised about, first and foremost, the legality or otherwise, the appropriateness or otherwise, whether the commission should have been set up in the first place or not. I think that debate,
we have moved
beyond that debate. There is a consensus that clearly it is within the remit of the state to set up a commission of inquiry.
The law is very clear.
The law is very clear on that.
The president can do it himself. If he doesn't do it, the Council of State can advise him.
And
if he doesn't do that, Parliament can pass a resolution and request it.
We've moved beyond that. And it is any matter of public interest. Now it's for us to define what is a matter of public interest.
Or public
and clearly,
importance.
This matter was beyond even our public. It was a matter of an international public interest. And so that was what instigated the decision to do that. Now, whether or not the work is incomplete, it's left to each and every one of us to assess the work of the commission.
What is your assessment per the white paper?
My assessment is that they've done a very good job. Well, I mean, the report is at the Assembly Press.
No,
he may not admit to you, but he's in the privileged position to have seen the report.
I'm saying that
of course,
the report is at the Assembly Press. If you want it, go there Monday, check. You should get it. If you don't get it, that is not the fault. Listen, that is not the fault of the president. If you go there on Monday, it's not there.
Can we move to the
That's not the
substantive
fault
issue?
of the president.
Continue with the substantive issue.
No, we've made some issues substantive so far by the way that we've discussed the matter.
Go ahead.
I think that those have to be corrected.
So proceed.
Yes, okay. Yes, so we need to accept that there's no problem about accountability in terms of making the report available. That it's been sent to Assembly Press, that you should follow up there, you will get a copy of the report.
Hopefully from Monday.
Now,
yes.
And I've spoken about the issue about whether it's complete or incomplete. I think that clearly there's so much that a commission of inquiry can do about findings. And like Kweku has indicated, they can ask for some further work to be done about certain matters. It's also for your own, individual judgment to determine what you think is appropriate for reference for further investigation and what you think on their own they probably could easily have found out without having to refer the matter to other bodies for further investigation.
Take for example this.
Yes.
Let's get to the specifics. I'm looking at 2.12.
Yes.
I'm going to D. It says the GFA must be investigated by way of a forensic audit to ascertain the claims of losses totaling this amount of money incurred by KVED. He referred to that. The claim that the amount of 350,000 USD received from the Japan match was used to offset the deficit incurred in the Ghana KVED match, whether match fees for the Ghana versus Holland and Ghana versus South Korea matches were eventually paid by the match agents or organizers after the request by cabinet to GMPC to fund the matches, and how the funds were applied. Are these not, ascertainments that the commission could have done?
Well, they were captured in the audited accounts that was presented to them.
Are these
Apart from that, KVED we played only once.
Are these not matters that it could have been conclusive about them, rather than referring to, further process?
Well, I mean, maybe they could have pried further into these matters to be able to make a statement. Maybe they did. Maybe tactically they have chosen not to take a position on that matter and allow for further exercise by appropriate bodies to do that.
Maybe
that's what I'm saying.
To see the report, to see what they did.
Okay.
Well, you can find the report at the Assembly Press, and you can read it. You can read it. You can find everything.
That the United States dollars 200,000 paid to the GFA president, Mr. Kwesi Nyantakyi, by the state towards a friendly match whilst preparing for the World Cup 2014 in Brazil should be further investigated vis-a-vis match agent funding of the friendly matches to the World Cup 2014 to clear any doubt of double funding and or misappropriation of funds.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, that they want some more investigation to be done on that issue.
But these were issues that were clearly put before them to investigate.
No, this issue did not come up at the commission. This particular issue, they didn't ask questions on it. I'm told on authority that one, the contracts are available, two, a receipt was issued for the money, and it had nothing to do with the person of the GFA thing. It's the institution.
Okay.
Okay.
Kweku,
so that's what I found out.
Okay, Kweku, see, I let a client there. There's the in-camera session that when they feel that a matter is of certain sensitive nature, you go to the in-camera session, and you definitely will supply the documents that are necessary. Are you saying that they didn't have the capacity to be able to complete these processes?
No, I'm not saying that they didn't have the capacity to complete these processes. I'm saying that they may have chosen not to pay attention to this particular issue and referred it to some other bodies to carry out some in-depth assessment. I mean, they probably couldn't have done everything in relation to the GFA. So there are some issues that they have left out for some more checks by other institutions.
There's supposed to be implementation committees and monitoring, all of that. What is the job of the sports ministry?
Well, the job of the sports ministry from the government white paper is to supervise these implementation committees. So it's not as if the sports ministry will not have work to do. They are really to oversee that these technical recommendations that have been made are implemented. So they will be very busy. But then also we have the National Sports Authority, and many of these things will also be done with the support of the National Sports Authority. The
monies that are supposed to be retrieved, how can the people expect that these monies and everything else will come back to government chest?
The Attorney General actually has been tasked with that job specifically from the white paper. and I believe that they will do their work. I mean, the key thing is for all of us to be interested and to continue to monitor and ask questions. Ask the Attorney General's office for clear timelines in terms of when they will deliver on their responsibilities as per the white paper.
Taking a quick break here. When I return, I'll ask Yao, the lawyer, of course, Mama Yaga is also a lawyer. I'll ask Yao to tell us briefly about what we can expect. If there are adverse findings in the report, as you may see, there are some findings that people may not be pleased with. The law is that upon 6 months, upon the passage of 6 months, this report becomes a judgment of the High Court. Then within 3 months, if you have any issues, you can appeal to the Court of Appeal. Should we expect that some of these things will happen? There is also law in this country, that's NRCD 261, that says that the Attorney General should simply issue notices asking people to refund the monies that they have been asked to refund. If they don't respect those notices, which will be gazetted, they are in trouble. They could go to jail for up to 5 years. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. And briefly, like I said, we'll get here upon to tell us about this. For example, at page 2.4, paragraph 2.4, it says the government accepts the following recommendations of the Commission. A, the activities of fun parks as produced and managed by Evolution International. You remember how Evolution International became controversial in the whole thing? International should be further investigated. I had requested through my client to do a cross-examination of these people. We didn't get to do it. Be further investigated, and any net income accruing from the execution of the fun parks should be paid to the state with interest at the prevailing bank rate. B, any misappropriation misapplication of funds given by GMPC to Evolution International on behalf of the Ministry of Youth and Sports should be refunded by Evolution International or surcharged to the former Minister for Youth and Sports, Honorable Elvis Efriye Ankra. Now, again, this is a language that you are not too comfortable with. Any misappropriation, any misapplication, you should be saying what has been misappropriated or what has been misapplied, and then asking the same should be refunded. But what's supposed to be the process in getting these monies back?
Yes, first of all, the law is clear, Article 280. If you take the clause 2, where a commission of inquiry makes an adverse finding against anybody, the report of the commission of inquiry shall, for the purposes of this constitution, be deemed to be the judgment of the High Court. I'll come back and continue. Then when you go to clause 5, a finding of a commission of inquiry, that is the adverse finding, that's how I see it, shall not have the effect of judgment of the High Court provided under clause 2 of this article, unless A, 6 months have passed after the finding is made and announced to the public. And this has been a very serious controversy, because are you then reckoning the time from the date the commission finished the report or from the date of publication? In this case, the gazetting. And I'm saying that we should all be interested on the date of the gazetting.
Okay. How are the monies taken?
Now, the monies could be taken, one, if you look at NRCD 261, 1974, the Attorney General can issue notices. And these notices under that law are deemed to be judgment of the High Court. And of course, it says which is not appealable. And I'm saying that that may have a constitutional issue.
Right.
Because there is a right of appeal.
Okay.
And under clause 2 of 280, accordingly, an appeal shall lie as of right from the finding of the commission of inquiry to the Court of Appeal.
Okay. But in the white paper, you see the statements like somebody has been given 1 month or 1 year within which to refund monies that have been giving it. Is that the kind of notice that is anticipated by law?
Should advert her mind to the NRCD 261, and I think a quicker process can be used. It doesn't need to now go to court for a civil suit. You can just use these notices. The aspect, as I said, that I disagree is that there should be no right of appeal. There is a right of appeal, which is inherent as far as...
Is it anticipating that some people will go to court over these matters?
Oh, well, you know, the consequences of adverse findings are serious.
If Evolution does not pay, Elvis Free and Cry is supposed to pay.
That is, if the further investigation concludes that there has been misappropriation, there has been stealing. I mean, that is the plain word that we should use. It's just too strong word to glorify an act of stealing. It is conclusive, and I support that kind of procedure. I say that, well, when people have stolen state money and assets, they can be in prison, but also pursue vigorously the process for recovery, which is usually by way of civil proceedings. Usually we just leave them to go to prison, come back, and get further positions. So it is important that we use the best, at the end of the day, whatever monies that we've lost, we should look at it. The last thing is just quickly, I think that even the commission, in my view, also exceeded its mandate. If you look at the title of this report, it is Report of the Commission of Inquiry into Matters Relating to the Participation of the Black Stars team in the World Cup tournament in Brazil 2014. And there are recommendations relating to monies that were paid pursuant to the 2006 World Cup, 2010, Starlets. I think even that should be looked at. Because in administrative...
Very interesting.